All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Detroit Lions in tonight's video because, folks, what a time to be a Detroit Lions fan. You guys are 7-1 for the first time since 1956. You're winning, and you're winning consistently. The Detroit Lions have 6 straight wins. They have the highest point differential in the league, the #1 scoring offense, the also #5 scoring defense. You are averaging under 33 points per game at 32.3 points per game. That leads the NFL. And by the way, the Detroit Lions had a slow start to their season offensively, but it would also rank 17th all time for a full season if they kept this up. Now, since week 3, the Detroit Lions have averaged 36 points per game. That's a 6-game span. They've won all 6 of them, and that's statistically more than a third of a season. So the Detroit Lions are not just on a 1 or 2 game heater, they're on a crazy heater. And you guys improved by February, March, April. You traded for Zadarius Smith, my former Green Bay Packer, but this Detroit Lions team is starting to feel legit. And it felt legit last season, and it felt legit in the regular season. And then you win a playoff game, you win 2 playoff games, you almost get to the Super Bowl, and it's like, all right, how do we get back here? And this offense on paper is absolutely loaded. And Sam Laporta, Jameson Williams, I don't even think we've seen the best of either of those 2 players. What's crazy, dude, is the Detroit Lions are averaging over 32 points per game, and I don't even think we've seen just how good this offense truly can be. Welcome back to the channel. We're rambling about the Detroit Lions in tonight's video, but before you do, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Guys, go subscribe to my Lions channel down below. I'm gonna post on it hopefully every single day or just about every single day, but I just need a little bit more of a base subscriber. So go check that out. I'll pin it in the comment section. But guys, if we try and get this video to 250 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So thankfully, this week is almost over because you embarrassed my Green Bay Packers 24-14. The final score does not feel how that game went. Jared Goff, huge reason for it. He's coming off a game where he only threw for 145 yards, a touchdown, 18-22. The Lions still have more touchdowns than incompletions in a very long time. It's just insane. Jared Goff is actually on pace. And the reason I wanted to bring up that Packers game where he threw for 145 yards, he threw for like 85 a couple of weeks ago in a 52-14 win against the Tennessee Titans. As little as Jared Goff has needed to do with his arm, and the Packers, like that game script, they valued more so like ball security, no turnovers, just keeping it clean, as opposed to like, big time plays. And also Jameson Williams was out. So game script has not been in Jared Goff's favor. That was obviously the first game that you guys have played not in a dome. But the point is, like, if you're up like you were in that Titans game, obviously Jared Goff's not slinging it 55 times like he did in that Tampa Bay loss. But he's still on pace for 3,900 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He should be an MVP talk. I don't know how he's not. I know the MVP is clearly right now Lamar Jackson, but let's get him into that top 3 conversation. Jared Goff leads the NFL in completion percentage at 74.9%. He's second in the NFL in pass rating. He's 5th in EPA per dropback. The offense is running and they're gunning, and it's just not even close. And this matchup on the road against the Houston Texans, a good solid defense led by DeMeco Ryans, it's going to tell us even more about this Detroit Lions team. And I really hope you guys can win it. Not because they lack the talent, but just keep this streak going, man. The sky's the limit for this Detroit team. But obviously the big thing is the defense because of the loss of Aiden Hutchinson. But the good news, guys, is Detroit currently ranks 5th in points per game allowed at 18.5. And the reason to it, in my opinion, is first off, there's talent on the defense, right? Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Alex Anzalone, Levi Onwuzurike. There's talent top to bottom all over. It's scattered. Carlton Davis, Terrion Arnold. It's scattered all over their defensive roster, but they're stepping up when they need to step up. That's what's so scary about this Detroit Lions team is even with the loss of Aiden Hutchinson until the Super Bowl, hopefully, not to get too far ahead of myself, but this defense, man, in absence of Aiden, they're still stepping up, even if they're not hitting the quarterback as much as we would like. Enters Za'Darius Smith, which we'll talk about in a minute here. They're stepping up, all right? The Lions have allowed the lowest third down conversion rate in the NFL at 29.9%. They also have the fourth lowest red zone touchdown rate at 43.5. They're bending but not breaking. A really good example would be like a game like, what was it, week 1 against the Los Angeles Rams. Oh, well, Detroit's defense gave up this many offensive yards. They let Stafford do this. They let an opposing quarterback do this. An opposing running back ran for all these yards. But when you look at the score, I mean, you're allowing an average of 18.5 points per game. They're not breaking in the red zone. They're settling for field goals, or they're having teams settle for field goals as opposed to touchdowns. And when your offense is putting up 32.3 a game, you're not going to lose many games, all right? In the red zone, the Lions rank first in yards per attempt at 1.9, first in third down conversion rate at 9.1%, second in yards per play at 2, fifth in defensive EPA per play and man coverage. I mean, the stats it's top to bottom. They're a phenomenal red zone group. And the Lions are currently playing without Aiden Hutchinson for a couple of weeks now. Marcus Davenport, John Kaminsky, Derek Barnes. This move for Za'Darius Smith was very much needed. There were no players traded at the edge position, or even just in the deadline in general, whether it's NBA, NFL. You don't really have players come in during a trade deadline. It's usually in the offseason where teams like to make these big-time splashy moves that ultimately lead to championships or Super Bowls or whatever. Za'Darius Smith was the best edge rusher who got traded. He's the number one target, I assume, for Brad Holmes and the management staff. Now, against the Packers, my Green Bay Packers on Sunday afternoon, Lions edge rushers combined for only 6 of Detroit's 18 pressures. And guys like Aleem McNeil were unbelievable. He had 7 total pressures against the Packers. He also ranks 10th amongst defensive tackles and pressures with 27, 5th in win rate at 14.7%. But Josh Paschal, James Houston, they haven't stepped up enough that make me feel good going into the second half of the season, i.e. playoff time, to feel all that comfortable that somebody can step up and get a sack, strip sack, fumble when they need to in a conference championship game, something like that. So like Josh Paschal, only 2 pressures since Aiden Hutchinson went down. They were both against the Minnesota Vikings a couple of weeks ago. One of them wasn't even blocked. James Houston, 8 sacks in 7 games as a rookie. Since then, nothing. He has had 7 pressures in the last 3 games, but he's not an every down player. He's not great against the run. Now, Za'Darius isn't perfect. A year ago, he had 5.5 sacks, 60 pressures, win rate at 18.5%. This year, he's 32, and he has 5 sacks, tied for 17th in the league, 27 pressures, top 23 amongst all edge rushers, 19.1% win rate, which is 12th amongst all NFL edge rushers. But he's on pace with 5.5 sacks and 60 pressures. He's on pace for 10 total sacks. Sorry, he had 60 pressures a year ago. That's my bad. He's on pace for 10 sacks and 54 pressures and a percent win rate at 19.1. Sorry, that sounded so confusing. The point is, he's still playing good. I feel like I just called him Preston, but neither here nor there. Za'Darius Smith, because Preston's Packers got traded 2 days ago. Za'Darius Smith, even at age 32, still producing. All right. He makes the Detroit Lions defense better, which makes the team better. And they're already one of, if not the best teams in the league. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Guys, give me your thoughts on the Za'Darius Smith trade down below. We'll see you soon. Peace.